Hello everyone, I am the woman who reads. I started this channel because I love our no sleep stories, but I'm not always in the mood to sit and read, nor do I have the time to be honest. So I'm turning some of the best and most upvoted stories into audio for anyone else who'd rather listen. If you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe because it really helps me to grow my channel. This is my first ever video, so yay me! I hope I stick with it. Anyway, I'm starting with Our No Sleep for now. If you like the stories that I pick, I'll expand into other parts of Reddit. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. So, today we're reading a story that I found that I think is super cool. It's in Our No Sleep. The username is bczh_stfu, and the story is called The Night Shift Listing. This is really cool, guys, so lock in and let's read. The listing on Craigslist said, night shift caretaker needed, no experience required, $600 per week, flexible hours. I was 53 years old, 2 months out of a marriage, and living in a motel that charged by the week. I was not in a position to be picky. His name was Daniel. He called instead of emailing, which I thought was either old-fashioned or a red flag. But his voice was calm and even, the kind of voice that read you the weather. The property just needs someone present overnight, he said. I travel for work. I don't like the house sitting empty. What kind of property? I asked. A large one, he said, as if that answered anything. He sent the first payment before I'd even seen the place. $400 in my account, with a note that just said, for your trouble so far. I called him back immediately. What trouble? I said. I haven't done anything yet. You answered, he said. That counts. The first favor was simple enough. He texted me an address, a storage facility on the edge of town, and asked me to pick up a unit key from the front desk, retrieve a green duffel bag from Unit 14, and drive it to his house. He'd leave the garage code in a follow-up text. The woman at the front desk handed me the key without asking me for my name. The bag was lighter than I expected, and smelled faintly of something chemical. Not drugs, but more like the inside of a hardware store. I put it into my back seat and I drove. His house was large, the way he'd said. Set back from the road with a long gravel driveway and motion lights that clicked on before I'd even turned in. I punched in the code and set the bag inside the garage on the workbench, exactly where he told me to. His follow-up text came as I was backing out. Thank you, Ray. One thing, if you ever see a white sedan parked across from the house when you arrive, drive past and don't stop. Text me and wait for my reply. I sat in the driveway for a moment, reading that twice. Then I texted back, noted. Over the next 2 months, I ran maybe a dozen errands. I drove documents to a law office and was told not to speak to anyone inside. Just leave the envelope at the front desk. I picked up a spare car, a nondescript gray Honda from a parking garage downtown, and drove it to his garage, where it sat next to his other cars, just like it belonged there. Once, he asked me to meet a man named Terrence at a diner, sit with him for exactly 45 minutes, then leave without the envelope he'd brought to the table. Don't look in it, Daniel said when I asked what the envelope was. I wasn't going to, I said. I know, I'm telling you anyway. In total, by the time the overnight request came, I'd made close to $4,000. I hadn't asked where the money came from. I'm not sure I wanted to know. He texted me on a Thursday. I need you to spend Friday night at the house. I'll pay $900. There are instructions on the kitchen counter. I drove over that evening. The house was dark except for a lamp in the front room. I punched in the door code, stepped inside, and found the instructions exactly where he said, held flat by a ceramic coffee mug. Welcome, Ray. Thank you for doing this. Rules for the night. Number 1, lock the deadbolt when you come in. Lock it again when you go to sleep. Number 2, the phone in the study rings sometimes. Do not answer it. It will stop. Number 3, do not open the blinds in the back bedroom. That room stays dark. Number 4, if someone knocks after 11 p.m., do not respond. Do not turn on any lights. Wait 15 minutes after the knocking stops before you move. Number 5. The man who does the exterior lights checks the property around 2 a.m. He will shine a light through the front windows. This is normal. Do not be alarmed. Number 6. There is a radio in the hallway closet. Turn it on before you sleep. Leave it on AM static all night. Volume at 4. Do not turn it off. Number 7. If the motion light above the garage comes on between midnight and 3 a.m., go to the study, close the door, and stay there until it goes off. Number 8. Under no circumstances open the door at the end of the basement stairs. You do not need to go down there. Help yourself to anything in the kitchen. There's a good blanket on the armchair. Good night. I read the list twice, and then I poured myself a glass of water and read it again. I thought about the water, the radio static, the knocking rule. It felt like a logic puzzle where I didn't have all the variables. But I thought about the gray Honda, the diner, the Terrence envelope, and I understood by now that Daniel operated in margins I didn't fully see. I followed every rule. The phone in the study rang at 9:47 p.m. twice, then stopped. At 11:30, someone knocked on the front door. A pause. Daniel, it's Phil. Open up, man. I didn't move. I was sitting in the armchair in the dark, and I stayed sitting in the armchair in the dark, and I counted my own breaths until there was silence. Then I counted 15 more on my watch before I allowed myself to get a glass of water. The motion light above the garage came on at 1:17 a.m. I went to the study and closed the door and sat on the floor with my back against the desk. The light stayed on for 11 minutes. I know because I watched the clock on my phone. I never went near the basement door. In the morning, I found a coffee maker already set and a note beside it that said, "Press brew." Thank you, Ray. The $900 hit my account before the coffee finished. Daniel wasn't there. He texted me around 10 a.m. All good? Heading back tomorrow. Taking a week off from favors. Enjoy the break. You've been reliable, and I mean that. I was sitting in my car in the driveway when I read that. I'd gone back to double check I'd locked up properly. Old habit from the divorce, I kept double checking things I had already done. As if being careful twice could fix what being careful once hadn't. I texted back, all good. Then I looked back at the house. I thought about the list. I thought about Rule 6. Turn the radio on. AM, static, volume at 4. Do not turn it off. I thought about how I turned it on before I fell asleep. I thought about how at some point during the night, I couldn't say when, I'd woken up and the house was completely silent. I'd assumed it had turned off on its own. It's an old radio. I'd made a mental note and fallen back asleep. But I sat with that for a moment. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Did you sleep okay? I stared at it. Another text from the same number followed. Static's important, Ray. It covers sound. When it's off, you can hear things you're not supposed to hear. I didn't answer. The third text was an image. It was dark, grainy, clearly taken in low light. It was the study. The door was closed. There was a shadow in the gap at the bottom. It was not my shadow. I had been on the floor with my back against the desk on the other side of the room. The final text read, "Good thing you stayed put." Ooh, that's creepy. I really like this story. They did a really good job here. Anyway, that's it for the story for today. I will be back with another story really soon. Drop me whatever you want to say in the comments. Be nice. It's my first video. Okay. Have a really good day, guys. Love you all. Bye.